Hi everyone, my name is Brenda Jin, and I'm going to talk about lessons learned from Phonegap for Google Glass. So, how many of you are web developers? A couple of hands. JavaScript? Anyone use JavaScript? Okay, a couple hands in the crowd. If you want to follow along with the slides, you can get a version there, glasslessons.divshot.io. So my Twitter handle is Cybernetic Love, if you want to get in touch. A little bit about me. This is a sensitive mic. I'm a web developer at Macy's.com, and I'm really passionate about humans and machines, and I love connected devices. The last two hackathons that I won were for projects for projects that involved connected devices, and they were for Internet of Things. So the process that I'm going to talk about today with Phonegap is actually something that I started before the GDK was announced. I wanted a quick way as a web developer to get my hands dirty developing for Glass, and I'm not an Android developer by training, so I ended up turning to Phonegap just to see what would happen and if I could do it at all. So it was a little experiment, and I'll talk about some of the things that I learned and the next steps if we want to make this a viable option. So why Phonegap? When I think of computers and machines, I really think of the interaction first. Like I said, I'm all about humans and machines, and at the end of the day, we are programming for humans. So there's a variety of tools out there to accomplish the interaction that you're going for, but I really think that the interaction between the human and the computer should be at the forefront of what we're creating and building. Another reason is so that we can prototype very quickly, and also so that some of us can use familiar tools. And so we can reduce the learning curve in order to just get an idea out there and learn and test and just see whether it works. I myself just learned to code in January of last year, and I feel like I have a lot of great ideas. And I subscribe to Massimo Bonzi's philosophy. He's one of the creators of Arduino. He's the creator of Arduino. And I really believe in lowering the barrier of entry so that people can test all the different ideas that they have out there and figure out whether or not they work. A lot of them won't, and some of them will. So one of the biggest complaints about Phonegap is performance. And like I said, I am a believer in testing out new ideas and all kinds of ideas from all different people. And Google Glass is a pretty small device, and a lot of the interactions are going to be pretty succinct and compact. So I don't think that performance is going to be a huge hit depending on what you're creating. And if it is, you might want to rethink the interaction. That being said, I also don't believe that Phonegap is the absolute right choice for a tool, no matter what. I think that you really need to choose the right tool for you, and there is a lot out there. This really started as a little experiment. I think it can be improved, but it's not the be-all, end-all. So I wanted to show you a little bit of code. This is creating a basic UI using the sensors. So one of the things that we can't do with the Mirror API is get the sensor data and then use it. So this is an example of Phonegap with JavaScript, and we're taking some event listeners and then just outputting that data to the DOM. And I'm going to show you an example. So here's my workspace with Phonegap, and all of the HTML and JavaScript is here. Oh, do you want to see how to import the project, actually? I can show you that. Okay, great. It's not mirrored, so I have to look up here. So I'm going to actually delete this and start from the beginning. So I have a GitHub project that you can clone, and I've already cloned into my documents. So I'm going to go to File, New, and then I'm going to go over to Other. From there, I'm going to select Android project from existing code. Go to Next. Select the root directory, which is the repository. Select example. I'm going to copy into my workspace, and I'm going to finish. There's one more step before we're done, and that's actually going over here to change the properties. We're going to target the Glass development sneak peek. Apply the changes, you'll see, oh, there we go. Now it has appeared right here, and we'll select OK. Now I have my glass plugged in, and I'll show you. So if we run ADB devices, here we are, that's me, ready to go to run this. And I will, oh, I should actually do this. It's really hard to type this one here. There you go. Okay, now you can see what I see. So I'll select that. Here we go. Hopefully it'll work. Aha, here we go. So now that's using Phonegap to output all of the acceleration data and the compass heading using the little bit of JavaScript that I just showed you. You can see that it's actually changing live. Great. Glad it works. Oh, I lost my notes. Okay. So that was an example of grabbing sensor data with Phonegap. And now I want to talk about next steps. So really focusing on the lessons that I learned and the gaps and what there is left to do. So I think that one of the easy targets is a card builder API. And I wanted to show you an example of how I created these slides using Reveal.js. So these slides, as you can see, are really interactive. You can go up, you can go over. And it's not completely unlike the card style menus that we've seen with the main categories and then the children. And Reveal.js has a great API where you have nested sections. This could be any kind of tag, but it would be really cool to see this kind of format as part of the Phonegap, maybe a Phonegap plugin. I think that live cards would be a great example, great candidate for this type of card building, and especially when we need a little bit of interaction that's more complex than what we can get through the Mirror API. And also if we need the ability to launch from home. So another thing that we really need is more Phonegap plugins. A lot of these are open source, and although we have some access to the hardware sensors, such as the compass heading and accelerometer, there's more that can be done. So we could get more from the gravity and magnetic field. Also, I would love to see a plugin for touch gesture support. Right now, when you use the Phonegap event listeners to try to understand the touch gestures, they all come back as the same key, and they all shut down the application. Also, a little bit of interface cleanup. You saw, this picture on the left is supposed to be what you just saw, and the picture on the right is one of the ones from glass, like a real glass application. So we do need to clean up the interface so that it looks more like the other glass applications out there to give you a real feel for what the experience could be. And I think that starter kits would be really great. Starter kits for the live cards and for immersions using Phonegap. So I can't do all of this alone. I would love some community contribution, especially to the plugins. If you're familiar with Android and JavaScript. And the example that I showed today with outputting the accelerometer and compass data is actually located here at this GitHub repository. I would love for your help in fixing it up, taking us to the next level, and I would love to see your pull requests. Does anybody have any questions?
Can you post the web address to your slides?
Oh, the question was about the address to my slides. I can go back there. It's glass-lessons.divshot.io.
It's like, it's a 404.
Yep.
It's a 404 right now.
Oh no. Okay, well, I'll put it up very soon. I'll fix that.
Okay.
Are there other projects that are incorporating Phonegap and glass that you have found that are interesting, or is this the only one that you know of?
This is the only one that I know of. I've done a Google search a couple of times, and my repository is the only one that comes up. So I would love to see more interesting things. I think we could make some really cool games. That would be fun. Any other questions? Okay.
Have you seen this thing called Where script?
What does it do?
It's pretty much like Phonegap for glass, except that it's more specific to glass. I think they started when they started to look at Phonegap for glass, but then it kind of progressed. Pretty much it's using of JavaScript to be able to write applications for glass.
Oh, okay. And you can install it.
I'm sorry.
You can install the applications.
Yeah, it actually has. It's pretty cool in the respect that you can edit, the application in your browser, and within like 3 seconds you can see changes running on your glass.
Oh,
So
awesome.
it's called Where script.
Okay. So just to repeat that for anyone who didn't hear, it was about Where script, where you can do a little bit more than what I showed you, and then you can create your application in JavaScript really quickly and then install it on your glass. So thank you so much.
Brandon White is the guy who's making it.
Cool. Brandon White.
Just Google it.
Thank you. That's awesome. Cool. Well, thank you so much for having me.